But I promise you, it never pans out. Even if they don't physically cheat on you, they don't get physical with the person, but they want to go be with that person. So maybe they're rushing the relationship to end or whatever so they can go run and be with that person and they can feel like they got scot clean. You're not getting off scot clean. The second that you are thinking an inappropriate thought when you already committed to someone else and you already promised to someone else, all of this is spell work. Whether you know it's spell work or not, it's all spell work. You already created a contract with someone else and you're off doing something else with someone else. Now think about this. When you stay with someone that's created a contract with you, now they're going to create a contract with someone else. Now they're going to create a contract with someone else. Now you're tied to all of this karma. You're actually tying yourself to this big ass tower moment. Hey, welcome back. I'm Luminous Ra, and today we are going to get into a deep discussion. I was going to keep it clean and just give straight up advice since someone did DM me about this information, but I feel like sometimes you just have to give a little background information. In order for people to understand who I am today, you also have to know who I was. There's a villain origin story that transforms into, I guess you can say, the hero. I've always been pretty emotionally intelligent, but I'm even more emotionally intelligent. Instead of choosing to use my powers for evil, I decided to use it for good. But I think that we do need to touch on like some of the evil, that was there before. But before we do, I want to definitely make sure that we tap into a fresh, clear energy. So I'm going to go ahead and light some incense. We're going to go ahead and clear and purify the air, and then we're going to jump right in. I love to add, if you're new, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're returning, thank you so much for returning. Today we're burning Palo Santos, and I love this one because it's going to definitely clear the energies in the air spiritually and energetically. Let's jump right in. Before we jump into today's conversation, I want you to slow down for a minute and take a breath and be honest with yourself. Because if you ever stayed with anyone who betrayed you, you're not stupid, you're not weak, and you may be lacking a little self-love. Don't worry, we're going to get into that. There's always a deeper story behind staying and an even deeper awakening behind leaving. And today, we're going to talk about that. Someone asked me, have you ever been cheated on and stayed? If so, what is it that made you finally leave? What was your healing process like? How long were you still there even after the cheating? I'm finding it hard to fully let my ex go who cheated on me a couple of times. I know he treated me like SHIT, but there's something that's making me stay and I don't know why. And I told her something that I feel a lot of women need to hear. I never stayed after physical cheating, but I have experienced emotional betrayal. And for me, it's a lack of accountability that makes it the hardest to get over. When a person isn't willing to admit it, or it seems like they don't care even if they do, the lack of accountability becomes the deal breaker, not just the betrayal itself. And once I saw the pattern of not being chosen, once I see where honesty should have been but it wasn't, my heart naturally starts to detach, even if my body is still in the house. My spirit has already packed a bag and left. That's me from the present. That's my healed version. That's my healed self. And even when I wasn't healed, I still wouldn't stay. The only difference between the healed version and the unhealed version is I will often crash out if I found out, or I would stay long enough to gain the evidence that I needed. And your spirit and intuition, you already know that they're doing what they're doing, but for whatever reason, you just can't leave. You need proof. And it took me some time, but after a while, I stopped needing proof. It started to become a declaration of my wisdom, starting to realize, yeah, this person and I aren't aligned. Because I found something bigger in me, I was able to see the path that I was living in was no longer conducive for me to feel safe and nurtured where I was staying. Because of my past, watching my parents and how they operated and listening to their sides of their love story, I vowed to myself that I would never stay. And that's something that a lot of us go through. We'll see different things around us in our environments and we'll declare to ourselves something. But there were also many things that transpired in my younger years that really helped me navigate this space of not tolerating cheating. No matter what people told me, no matter how many men said every man cheats, it does not matter. The second that something like that happens, I'm done. It's finito. And it's even gotten to the point that emotional cheating is in that bucket as well. I'm not staying for emotional cheating either, because if someone has a wandering eye, they have a wandering eye. There's a difference between having self-control and not having self-control, and I feel like that heavily dictates the person's character. And if I want someone with a certain character, then I need to stand strong on my boundaries, because I've suffered a lot in life holding my own boundaries, my moral compass, my intention. If I take the hard road to get to where I am, I don't want anyone around me that's trying to take shortcuts or easily distracted. If I'm planning to build something bigger and greater, I need someone focused, and I don't need someone that I can't trust. People love to say, you don't love yourself, that's low self-worth, you're too desperate, but let's be real. The human experience is deeper than that. You're not staying because you're dumb or silly. You're staying or want to stay or want to go back because your nervous system feels safer in familiar pain than unfamiliar peace. And I want to be honest here. Do you even know what peace is at this point? If we really sit back and we think about what our life is, how it feels with or without this person, before and after this person, have we ever really found peace to begin with? Because oftentimes we feel attached to people because they bring some sort of love and excitement into our life. But something that I had to come to a realization with when many times on my journey through different experiences, is every time I felt love, I felt it in me. I felt it within my body. I felt it even if the other person didn't feel it. So it's active within me. Other experiences outside of myself triggers it. And because I haven't explored any other realm where I can trigger it on my own, I used to think that that person was the only person that could trigger that emotion, or because the bond was so deep, I would never find another bond as deep as that one. And as I matured and I started to experience different things, and you guys, I've even had a child, being in a relationship with a child and then walking away from that situation, I realized when it finally hit my son's father that it was over and I was really walking away. He tried to say things to make me stay, and one of the things that he said was, "You're never gonna find another me." And before I could even think, the very next thing I said out of my mouth is, "I hope I don't ever find another you. Good riddance if I ever find another you. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do if I ever find another you." But you thought that was a flex? It's not. We're breaking up. That's the last thing that you should be saying to me right now. It took a lot of experiences and being fed up. And honestly, the more fed up you are, usually is because of the deeper the heartbreak. To a lot of us, cheating is not a big deal because maybe physical abuse is a bigger deal, or maybe physical abuse isn't a big deal to some of us, but cheating is. It all depends on how you are and how your nervous system is wired and what you've experienced and what you've learned in life to help you decipher what is a big deal and what's not, what gets you bonded to someone and what doesn't. But overall, learning how to love yourself, learning how to create a space for yourself to feel loved, whole, and appreciated without another person. Because if you don't have that, the only other dopamine hit that you can find is in a place that's not safe. Your brain values predictability over happiness. If you grew up around chaos, your body registers chaos as home. If love always felt inconsistent, you'll attach to inconsistency even when it hurts. So this isn't weakness, it's programming. But a lot of insensitive people will tell you that it's a weakness, or you're dumb, or you're silly, or why can't you get it? And what is it about this guy that's so special? There's nothing special about him. But to you, you got used to the program. And the original program is from your childhood. Your heart isn't choosing him. Your childhood is. The first thing that I did when I broke up from my relationship was hit the ground running on starting a brand new cycle. I've even discussed this in other conversations. So if you're interested, click on those conversations and maybe you'll get something out of that. I spoke about the process as I was working through the process. So everything was very fresh and realized as I was discussing what I experienced and how I overcame and what I did to overcome. But one of the main things was hitting the ground running and recalibrating my nervous system, which also helped me realize what type of attachment that I was. And as we speak on attachment, I also wrote an entire ebook on breaking up. You guys, breaking up is part of the cycle. I I was never the type of person to value or idolize my relationship and make it my entire identity. That's one of the main reasons why I had a completely different couples page, separate from my individual page. A lot of people found me when I was single, and I didn't want to enmesh that life into what I had personally going on because I'm still walking my own journey. I have my own autonomy, and I'm very strong in that. Even though my life was reflective of this relationship and I was transforming in that relationship, I still needed an anchor in who I was and remembering who I was, what my foundation was, and allowing more room and space for me to grow in that way. So as I went through the breakup, I definitely touched on attachment styles. I touched on how to navigate a breakup. Truly, everything that I did, I even give you all the prayers that I prayed. I went down into the nitty-gritty, and I even put spaces in there for you all to take notes, reflective questions, things that are really going to hit you and make you think and help you rewire yourself, and then also help you reprocess your brand new world. Ebook is titled Healing After Heartbreak, Returning to Yourself After a Breakup. I discussed how the shift happens, trusting the divine. I went through healing attachments and breaking cycles, rebuilding identity and self-trust. There's reflection prompts. There's a micro promise calendar to help you revamp and renew your lifestyle, get an idea of what you want your life to look like, literally revamping your identity. I have a section where you identify your attachment style and visualization prompts to help you rebuild your idea of your relationships so that you can have a better relationship in the next one. And there's so much more. Trust me, I put so much in there, not too much to overwhelm you, but enough for you to take a deep dive, look within, see exactly what you have going on, see the patterns so that you can revamp them and not choose the same type of behavior going forward. Okay? Lamona is just stumbling on a new partner that's perfect. You have to do the work within yourself in order to align to that. So if you guys are interested, definitely take a look. I'm going to link it at the bottom of this conversation so that you guys have access to that ebook. I might even drop a sale. Black Friday is coming up. You know what? I'm going to bless you guys with that. I'm going to go ahead and put a sale on there for Black Friday. But go ahead and take a look at it. I hope that you get everything you need. Please take it as seriously as your life, okay? When you really invest in that program, it's literally the process that I went through and some. And it even helped me decipher a lot that was going on for myself to help me be in a better place now. You know what I mean? So definitely take a look at that, you guys. And let's go ahead and get into the attachment styles. Let's talk about why some people stay after betrayal more than others. We have the anxious attachment. You're afraid disconnection equals danger. Now, whatever you top this danger off to be, that is all in your paradigm. Whether you're fearful that other people are looking at you and thinking that you can't keep a partner, whether you feel that this person is providing something to you that you desperately need in your life, or whether this person just feels like home to you. Your body panics at abandonment. Your mind says, maybe if I loved harder, they'll come back to me. And people diagnose this as like pick-me-shit behavior or whatever, and we really need to start looking deeper into what things are instead of trying to insult people all the time. Anxious attachment is something that you absolutely have to face in order to have a more balanced relationship. Now we have avoidant attachment. You don't want to feel anything. You want distance, but fear the pain under it. So you stay close enough not to confront yourself. I want to say all of these are pretty much wrapped up in fear, but this one, basically, you're scared of feeling because you're scared of getting your heart broken. So sometimes I feel like attachment people can turn into avoidant people at some point because they've had enough of feeling so deeply and getting hurt and then transforming into a person that doesn't want to feel anything. Or maybe this is where you see a lot of people speaking about dark feminine, where they start treating people how they treat them. It's a removal and a disconnect of your emotions, but you still feel something even if you feel nothing. Does that make any sense? So even when you feel depression, in depression, you don't feel anything, you feel numb, and that within itself becomes its own hell. So even if you try to separate yourself from emotions, you still end up feeling something, whether it's the void or you feel like you're alone and you can't get out of this prison that you chose oftentimes to put yourself in. But pretty much that's what avoidants are. They want the closeness, they want the excitement, but they also get scared when things start to get real. Disorganized attachment. Love for you has always been a mix of chaos with comfort comfort. You crave peace, but only know how to survive or live in storms. I'm gonna be honest, when I was in my shadow energy, when I was my shadow self, if you guys are familiar, if you're an OG, then you already know. This one is probably who I was. Because I was very lovey-dovey when I wanted to be, but also very avoidant, and I would pull my energy back when I felt like I was moving too fast or falling too deep, or maybe I was acting silly. It was always some type of chaos happening with some of the partners that I was choosing, and I didn't even understand what was going on. I felt like, and I feel like a lot of people feel like, that's just how everybody is. That's just how the dating system is amongst everyone. But no, you're aligning to a certain group of people, and you just don't realize that you are. If you had different networking opportunities or experiences, and you worked in a different paradigm, in a different energetic space, then you would have access to a different level of people. For instance, if you work in fast food, you're gonna have a certain type of individual working at a fast food restaurant. Everyone is gonna kind of have like the same type of energy, whether they're new to the experience and they're like high school or college students, or they're older people that have to go back into the workforce because, you know, everything is so crazy and expensive. The vibration and the energy in certain environments are gonna be similar. Like for me in sales, it was like fast energy. It was very masculine dominated, even if it was toxic masculinity, which it definitely was. It was corporate, but it was also an experience of where they only look out for the people that they're cool with. It was more so about networking and having each other's back with the people that you liked more so than the people that worked hard. So when you have that imbalance, right? If you look at the themes of where you work or the themes of where you hang or who you're with, the family dynamics that you're in, you'll see a theme of energy. And just because that's the only energy that you see doesn't mean that that's the only energy that exists. That's just the energy that you're currently in. Secure attachment. This is where I am now. And it took my last relationship to help me shift out of the disorganized into secure attachment. It sounds so crazy, but it's so true. I surprised myself at the end because I definitely have grown and navigated a large space, even dealing with the conflicts that I was dealing with. But secure attachment is you feel the pain, but you also know your worth. You can walk away even if you're hurting. Most people believe that they're in love, but they're not in love. They're in a trauma loop. And we're going to go ahead and break that loop today. You said something important in your question. I don't know why I can't let go. Here's why. We think we become who we are because of ourselves, but really we're shaped by parents, caretakers, siblings, friends, media, culture, community, what we saw tolerated around us. If you grew up watching the women around you tolerate disrespect, you will subconsciously believe love means endurance. If you grew up seeing people prioritize keeping the peace, you'll sacrifice yourself to avoid loneliness. If you grew up being the emotionally mature one, you'll feel responsible for fixing everything in every relationship you enter. And again, it's not stupidity, it's programming. How often do we think about what we should do and what we shouldn't do? We know what we should do, but for whatever reason, our mind can't stop thinking about that person, or our heart is aching for that person, or we're stuck on remembering every good time that we had with this person. And we start to think about how we're missing out and somebody else is getting that, but they're also getting the cheating. They're also getting the bad behavior. And this is another reason why it's very easy for me to let a person go. It's not easy, but it is, if that makes any sense. I've done harder things in my life. And I think that is something that I also can contribute to this conversation. I've done harder things. I've been through harder things. I've had to overcome bigger things. I've had to have my own back. I've had to face scary things alone. So when it comes to letting a person go that's bringing chaos, bringing low vibrational energy, breaking my heart, not respecting me, and respect is very big for me. So if a person is not respecting me, then I don't want them around me. So because I have certain things in place within myself, that's the main reason why I'm not going to tolerate any BS. I'm not. Because at the end of the day, when you know who you are, if you know that you are actually a gentle, sweet, caring, loving, giving person, whether you're a people pleaser or not, it doesn't even make a difference at this point. If you know that you're sweet, if you know that you're kind, if you know that you're giving, and this person person is walking all over you, disrespecting you, can't control themselves and their urges, you can't trust them, your nervous system isn't safe with them, then babes, I promise you, you have to think about it like this person is going to destroy the beautiful parts of myself if I allow them to stay. If I allow them to stay and continue to treat me the way they treat me, I'm going to lose myself. And to me, there's nothing more scary than losing who I am and losing my mind, because eventually that will make you lose your mind. And that's how people are able to siphon energy as well, because at the end of the day, you're giving them your energy. Every time you think about them, every time you obsess about them, every time that you wish things went differently, you are literally facing and focusing on them. Let's say everything that you're focusing on and you're looking at is this, right? And every time that you look and focus on this thing, it fills up. But depending on how much energy you're putting on focusing on this thing and what you're focusing on, it's going to determine whether it comes back to you or it leaves you and goes somewhere else. And then you get another object and you get to fill it up again and do the same thing. So because I already have my purpose, I know my purpose is to assist people in this realm the best way that I can, the best way that's suitable for who I am as a person, because I've actually taken time to get to know who I am as a person. When I left that relationship, I was put in the pickle, but the pickle that I was put in was either going to determine whether I was going to overcome these challenges or whether I was going to minimize myself and shrink. What does that mean? Having a huge couples page, there's a lot that people can think when it comes to that. But because of how I was managing and running that page, I feel like we aligned with a lot of understanding, compassionate people. A lot of people that are in real relationships, they're not just commenting on relationships because they're out flirting or calling themselves dating, and they haven't figured out how to put themselves in a situation to be mature enough emotionally, energetically, and spiritually to be in an actual mature partnership, right? I can honestly say the relationships that I've had in the past weren't as mature as that relationship that I was in. And I would have never known it had I not gotten into that relationship. No matter how it ended or transpired, I would have never known, right? Because I was in a relationship and I was in it for a long time. That's what made it real, not necessarily. That's what made it mature, not necessarily. Or we had a baby. That's what made it mature, not necessarily. There's a certain energy that you come into this situation with, and usually it's responsibility. How much are both partners willing to put in the same amount or more responsibility into this union, not avoiding the things that need to be taken care of? There's a lot of people in a relationship right now that's been in a relationship for a really long time, but guess what? They're both still children. They're arguing about mediocre, minuscule things. And that's why oftentimes the topics that we addressed, we didn't experience those experiences together. We experienced them before each other, some of them, you know what I mean? But we didn't experience them together. We had already grown out of that cycle. So we were in a different space, in a different place. And a lot of the people that were drawn to our content were also already married. If you guys look in the comments, a lot of people were already married, or they were engaged, or they were in a long-term commitment with a person that they've built a life with, not just had a baby with, but they built a life with. Maybe they bought a home, maybe they have a business, maybe they have some sort of investment in this relationship. Now, I don't want you guys to just jump up and start investing in people so that they can feel mature. That's not what I'm saying. It's just a certain type of navigation that you go through as you graduate through each relationship, and you learn through each relationship to graduate to a more mature relationship. So because it was so mature, it would have been more complicated to leave. And if I left, not understanding my audience, I would have felt like, you know what? I would have been on his side with it. No, I'm not going to tell anybody that we broke up. We're just going to fade into the distance and hope everybody forgets us. But I had a certain amount of responsibility that I felt that I needed. I mean, people have seen us millions of times. It's not even just about the followers. It's about how many times our faces have popped up, how many times those videos have been shared, how many times those messages have been discussed. There's a responsibility to the collective to show up in a certain light, in a certain mannerism, especially when people are automatically looking to you as a leader. And that's something that I was hyper aware of, that people were looking to us as leaders. But just because they're looking to us as leaders does not mean that I'm going to sacrifice my truth. And my truth is I've outgrown this situation, and I'm not going to stick around because of the weight and the force of social media, because people will put that weight on you and then damn you for being in a fake relationship. I was not going to be in a fake relationship. I completely refused to do that. And I was not going to make myself minimize and not grow out of that experience, because that is what needed to happen. happen. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for you guys that you all were so gentle. And, of course, there's going to be people, that don't understand, but they don't understand. That's why they're saying the negativity that they're saying, because they've never been in this experience before. And we're quite literally changing the narrative on something that has been in effect for years. It's taboo to leave a relationship. No matter how many times we see people do it or see people talking about it, it's very taboo to leave a relationship, and even more taboo to leave a relationship in peace and harmony. Even if it didn't go down in peace and harmony, to handle it with a lot of maturity and respect and an emotional intelligence, we don't see that often. And I felt it was important that even though it was so hard, it was incredibly hard to share. It was multi-steps and multi-dimensional, because I had to go through processing everything myself after I had already been processing everything myself leading up to that point. And then I also had to process moving out and having my son and getting his life together. I'm responsible for more than just myself. It's not just me. I don't have the luxury to wallow. I still have to tread forward. I'm still a leader in my little boy's life. He's not even a little boy anymore, but that's my child. So I have to show up in a certain light and a certain type of responsibility. And then I have my own emotional thing that I need to figure out and I need to work through mentally, energetically, spiritually, all of these things. And then I got to face the world. Now I have to tell the world, hey, even though we did our best in trying to help everyone out from all the lessons that we've learned from past relationships and even some relationship issues that we've had in our own relationship, we're going to call it quits. Not being able to sit there with my partner and have my partner sit next to me and at least bow out with me was another hurdle that I had to go through, because I also didn't want people to attack him. I always feel so scared for other people, because I can deal with certain backlash. I can deal with a lot. I haven't dealt with everything on social media, but I've definitely dealt with so much hardship that it's not a lot many strangers can say or do to me that it's going to make me feel like life is over. I've already passed that bump in my life. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty strong in that retrospect. I'm still human. I still cry. I still have emotions, and I'm still very vulnerable and delicate. The amount of responsibility that I've had to develop walking the path that I've walked, I realized yeah, I still want to protect this person, even though this person did not take the time to protect me from themselves. And that takes a whole nother level of maturity. There's a certain code that I have of whether I like a person or not, whether I agree with a person or not, whether I hate a person or not, there's still a level in me that understands that humanity is humanity, and we need to, at some point, somewhere, someone needs to decide to stop trying to destroy it. Dealing with that put me through a whole nother realm. Facing it, I realized that's what I had to do. And it was part of my process. And I had that process because I had my purpose. I already had my plan. I already knew who I was and who I am as a person that's going to try to elevate. And I'm not going to hide from life's experiences. I'm going to move on. And in moving on, that's what helped me create my ebook. That's what helped me create my affirmations. That's what helped me navigate a space where even the people that I coach on the private end, I'm able to help them in a whole nother light because I've experienced something. I can even help them walk their path because I've already walked my own. Okay. So just keep all of that in mind. The only reason why I'm able to sit here and feel good and be good and not be performative in front of anyone or the camera or anything, when this camera goes off, I'm the same person. Do you understand? I'm not going to play around. I don't play around with people, and I don't like when people play around with me. Even having that conviction in my spirit is important. I'm not going to be stuck on a person when I'm in a space in my life where I've had many persons. I've dated many people. I've had many experiences. I've loved many times. I've experienced hurt like everyone else many times. And I've always picked myself up and I've always left. The best piece of me is deciding that I'm not going to let anybody kill that beautiful part of me. By the time I get to the person that I'm supposed to get to, or maybe the person that I'm supposed to get to is me. Maybe I'm supposed to sit with myself at the end of this journey me. I want to have enough of me left. I want to be able to experience the best of me. And if I do have someone in my future, I want them to be able to experience the best of me. I don't want that person to die. So it's going to be easier for me to leave quicker. It's going to be easier for me to forget, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to protect something special within me. And you live and you learn. So I'm not going to align with people that operate a certain way or treat me a certain way. All of those things, I've learned what I needed to learn. And the only reason why I learned it was because I had enough courage to walk the path. Our paradigm is tricking us in a way, because we're thinking that we're losing something because that was supposed to be it. That was never supposed to be it. If it's gone, it's supposed to be gone. Everything that's happening is supposed to happen based on the energy and the decisions that you decide to make in your life. Remember that. It's very important. The only thing that's going to help you evolve out of it is learning from the situation. What is the situation telling you? What is the situation bringing out of you? What is it bringing to light? What are you noticing in what you like and what you're attracted to? Don't just go and start dating the opposite because you think you're dating the opposite in mannerisms, behaviors, and look and appeal, but really you're still aligning to the same energy. If you have any type of insecurities, you're going to align to someone else that's insecure as well. Your insecurities are different from theirs, so it's not going to seem the same, but you're going to be in the same vibrational pool of that person. So we have to go within and we have to heal. And we have to say to ourselves, what is this trying to tell me? What am I trying to evolve out of? What's not clicking? What's the common denominator? What's the pattern here? What do I need to learn? And do I feel that everyone around me is against me or betraying me or doing something to me? If so, why? What boundaries am I not implementing? What am I not understanding about what I need to do to move forward and graduate out of this energy? It is a energy field. And because there's so many people in chaotic energy, there's going to be a lot of instances that you can align to until you get it. Now let's get deeper. Cheating is not just a relationship issue. It's a spiritual rapture. When betrayal enters a relationship, your intuition sharpens, your soul starts whispering, your ego panics, your identity cracks, your shadow surfaces, your wounds get loud, your childhood patterns replay, your destiny redirects you. As you experience different things in each experience, you are discovering a new part of yourself. Even after the relationship ends, you're discovering how you grieve. You're discovering how you handle lost memories. You're discovering how you miss someone that you know good and well you shouldn't be around. You're discovering new versions of yourself, and you're experiencing how intense these feelings are. And you're also telling yourself in a way energetically where you are. Are you shoving down these emotions and trying not to face it and trying to get under another body to feel good? Or are you trying to get with another person to heal or numb the experience or the emotions that you feel? What are you doing with your time, and what are you doing in this experience? Are you crying every single day? Are you eating bad food? What choices are you making as you're trying to rediscover and heal? Because that's going to tell you where you are energetically. If you force yourself to get out of comfortability, to do the things that are going to help you navigate your space, navigate your healing cycle, even though it takes a while, you'll get over it. I can say honestly right now, I think it's been, maybe I should count. I think it's been like 6 months. What are we in? November? We broke up in July, August, September, October, November. Oh God, it's only been 3 months. I'm over it. Yeah, yo, girl, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about me. My express healing, this is express healing right here. I used to always say it only takes me 2 weeks to get over you. That's it. That's about it. Yo, that relationship was so deep, so heavy, so soul guiding that it took me 4 months. I thought it was 6 months. It took me 4. It's not even a full 4 months because I don't even, or maybe it's just about to hit 4 months. I can't remember the day that we broke up, but girl, I'm already thinking I'm halfway through the year in this. Okay, I'm so proud of myself. This whole time I've been telling myself like, oh yeah, it's been about 6 months. Am I counting that right? It was like the end of July or whatever. Oh my gosh, I feel so good. And typically people say that it takes like double the time you were in a relationship. If you drag your feet on healing, it's going to take you a long time. But if you jump out of it already processing, honestly, I'm going to be honest. Every time I'm about to break up with somebody, I start the breakup process in the relationship. I'm already breaking up with you in relationship. Like once I see that you do not value anything that I'm saying, you're not actually changing, you're not trying to fix anything, you're not trying to pour back into the relationship, maybe you're acting worse, whatever, I'm already checking out. I'm already grieving. I'm already crying. Unbeknownst to that person, they won't even know. Once I give up trying to get through to you, I'm already grieving. And I feel like every woman should do that or does do that. It's pretty much over before it's actually over. He wasn't gonna let it be over until he wanted it to be over. So I'm grateful that he wanted it to be over when he did. It was a month later than I wanted, but hey, it was cool, whatever. But even after that, even after it ended, I still had a lot of grieving to go through because now I had space to make room and to excavate exactly what was going on. I had to lay everything out while he was not there, because it's easy to not like a person when you're with them because they're constantly reminding you why you should leave. But when you leave, you forget why you should leave because now they're gone. So you feel this chunk of you is gone. It takes away from the scheduling and the process of everything that you did on a daily basis. Now your life has significantly changed. It's almost like taking something out of its environment and putting it in a brand new environment. It's gonna kind of tweak out a little bit, and humans are no different. Even though that's my reality, it also helps that I had other things in place. My security in terms of where I lived was secure. I was fine. So I didn't have to worry about that. I did have to get the schooling and everything for my son together, and I had to do a lot, okay? And there was even more that I haven't even discussed with you all that I had to do, but there was a lot. I feel like taking the time out of my day to get back into my spiritual practice full-fledged and add on to my spiritual practice and reprogram my brain that not only am I safe in this new reality, but I'm going to thrive in this new reality. I'm going to be abundant in this new reality. And I also was able to low-key tap into somatic therapy because I was walking, jogging, and running every day. So just that shaking, that thumping, that movement in my body, making sure that my body was able to digest my food easily. I started to become hyper aware of how I felt after I ate. I was eating healthier, cleaner. I was pouring into myself throughout each day. I was putting fruits and vegetables. Like I was just really loving on myself, even when I wanted to be sad. If I wanted my favorite ice creams, which is Ben & Jerry's, oh my God, it's my favorite ice cream. I don't even want to tell you guys my favorite flavor because it's already hard to find. You know, even if I wanted my favorite ice cream, that was like my little treat. That was my pleasure factor of doing all of the hard work, which actually wasn't hard because once I started to implement these habits, it became my lifestyle. It was what my body was looking forward to every day. So I did mention that I was waking up at 5 a.m. I didn't have to set my alarm clock to wake up at 5 a.m. I was just naturally waking up at that time to get up and do my thing because I was excited for how I felt. My biggest thing, which I still haven't done, I was supposed to paint clouds because I'm obsessed with the sky. But my biggest thing in excitement was to look at the sky because the sky was different every single morning. So I would be excited to see what the sky looked like. I also wanted to feel whatever would come up, and I was able to dream and record my dreams as well. So I was just very much into my foundation that I'd already created before I met this guy. I already had my own personality. I already was my own person. I already had my own purpose. I was already on purpose. Even if my purpose changes on social media, it's still the same. I'm just communicating it differently. Does that make any sense? Going through that process and adding everything else that I was doing, spending ample amount of time with my son, selling my old clothes, I really started to revamp and change and get rid of things. Because I was in that relationship, I just thought about everything that I learned that was positive in that relationship, and I started implementing that into my life as well, because everything is an experience. God, I just don't even know how many times I can say this to really get people to understand. There's positivity in each relationship that you have, right? But when you focus on all of the negative, when you focus on longing and limerence, guess what? You really handicap yourself in your journey. You sit still longer in a place than you need to. Man, I don't even really think about the relationship at all anymore. The schedule and how everything was, especially since we lived with each other, I don't even think about it. Even with the betrayal, I'm not focused on the betrayal. Even the things that he shared with me at the end that he didn't even have to share with me because it was already over, about whoever he had his eye on, I was more so wrapping up closure than comparing myself to that person. Like, that person looks nothing like me. That person looks exactly like everything that he said in the entire relationship that he hates. And I was like, oh my gosh, those TikToks, they were right. Like, okay, go have that. Get out my way. Hurry up. Let me kick you out. Make room and space for the next person. But it didn't make me feel like I needed to be like her or I needed to look better than her. She can never be me and I can never be her. Simple. The other thing, I already said this before, but the other thing that helps me the most move on is knowing your partner better than anybody else. Okay? And one thing that I've noticed looking at my own experiences, looking at other women's experiences, what I've experienced in family dynamics, like just watching people go through things, men don't change. They make it seem like they change. They put on a good front for the next person, but they really don't change. They don't. And they think that getting with a new person is going to make them a better person, but it's not. And I think it's the same for us. Just because they left doesn't mean that we're a bad person. That's why I'm so quick to get a person out of my area, because I know I'm a good person. I know that. And I think that you don't know that because I've given you opportunities and chance after chance after chance. So you think that I'm not aware of my own value. I am. I'm just trying to work this out. But now that I see that you're not trying to work this out and be any better and make this grow into something beautiful, then babes, you can leave. I feel like because I'm older now and I've experienced so much and I've learned so much, that's the reason why I can have that epiphany and that understanding. Because at the end of the day, when I was younger, I was a crash out. When I was younger, I took karma into my own hands. When I was younger, once I had the evidence, I was about to be your judge, jury, and executioner. I'm about to get you, okay? It's because I never felt less than. It's like, oh, I can't believe that you did this to me because I'm a great person. Now, back then, my self-love was probably low as hell, because why the heck was I even aligning to those people in the first place? Why was I even with someone that thought that that type of stuff was cute in the first place? But now that I look at my exes, they are not even my type. I don't want to be in the same place as an ex or anybody that I ever talked to or dealt with. And it's so funny. I was on Hinge and I had like over 500 notifications and I was trying to clear all these notifications. I always had a Hinge, but I deleted the app off my phone, but I never deleted my profile. I completely forgot that I had the profile the whole time that I had it. But when I broke up, I was like, you know what? Let me see what they got going on here. You know, let's see if there's any new supply. And I'm swiping. And I saw somebody, he's older than me, by the way. I saw somebody that I used to talk to on Hinge. And I was like, I'm deleting my profile right now. I don't even want to be on the same dating app as you, because that's telling me something. I just don't think that I'm going to find actually, it's not even, I don't think. I know for a fact I'm not going to find my person on a dating app, because I know my astrology. I know my natal chart. I know how it's all set up. And I've also looked at how I've met people in the past that's actually stayed around. Do you know what I mean? It's not on a dating app for me. And even if it was on a dating app, there's still something up with that energy. And there's still something up with the people in that energy on that app. I feel better meeting people in person. But once I saw him on there, I immediately deleted my profile. I was like, yeah, I can't be in the same place as you. And that's on me never repeating another karmic cycle, because karma is good, you guys. We all think that karma is bad. Karma is not always bad. It can be unfavorable to you. It can feel very unfavorable, but it's not bad. It's just a learned experience. And I've learned, and it's best that you learn too. This is where the karmic cycles end. This is where your soul contracts expire. This is where God steps in and says, you've learned what you needed to learn here. Now it's time to let go. Sometimes God lets something break so you stop worshiping what was never going to build you. When I tell you, I absolutely love every experience that I've been in. It all starts off good for the most part, right? Like, let's be real. You fell in love with that person for a reason. It started off good. So there's good qualities about it, and there's good aspects of yourself that you get to walk away from it with. We get so caught caught up on the hurt to the point that we either don't want to face it and we want to push it out and we don't want to feel it, or we let it drive us crazy. We allow it to become our personality and our identity. And you should be doing neither of the two. Acknowledge it, feel it, release it. Like I said, I came up with verbal affirmations to help reprogram my mind. I started to walk and jog and run for somatic release. Boy, did I release. It definitely brought down a lot of tears, a lot of sobbing. Good. I knew I needed to get that out. There was no shame in that because I've already experienced life. I had to learn that there's no shame in crying. There's no shame in feeling. There's no shame in grief. There's no shame in loving. And when you put shame on things, that's what keeps everybody stuck. And a lot of people will tell you you're stupid. A lot of people will tell you that you're this or you're that to help you stay stuck like they're stuck and help you be miserable like them. If you don't want to be miserable, it's time to think to yourself, what do I want to do with myself? What do I want to do with my life? What's going to light me up? What's my purpose? What am I meant to do with my life? What did this situation teach me? Because when you hyper focus on a person, you make them an idol and you don't want to give them any more energy, any more love, any more anything else. The other thing that I started to do was highly invest in my beauty. I was like, you know what? I'm taking care of myself internally. I'm taking care of my heart. I'm taking care of my mind. I'm taking care of my spirit, everything. And now I need to take care of my body. I need my body to be healthy. I need my body to feel healthy. I need my body to be productive. And every time I look in the mirror, I want to be proud of what I see. I want to see the change in me. Right before I started to do that, I saw my glow and my shine before I even did all of that. I was suffering heavily from acne, blemishes. I was going through the most. I cut my hair and I was wondering why I was cutting my hair because I cut my hair 3 times when I was nearing the end of that relationship to the point that it was really, really short. And I even looked back at some old videos and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I cut so much of my hair off. But I needed that. You know what I mean? I needed that release. I was releasing already. When I started to pour into myself and have my bag, I had my own bag. And I was even telling myself, like, it's okay that you're crying. It's okay that sometimes you think about going back, even though you know you don't want to go back. It's okay because we're going to get through this. It's all right. You're navigating the space as you should. And you can take all the time that you need as long as you promise yourself to get up and keep your promise to yourself that you're going to keep moving. You're going to keep waking up. You're going to keep praying. You're going to keep going. And it's not going to be revolving around this person. I even gave myself some space to try to understand what was transpiring and what was going on, but I didn't spend too much time on that because my closure was taking care of myself. That's what I needed. And it sounds like that's what you need. I already kind of touched on this, but when I was with my ex, I had my own process and I had my own routine. I stayed home. I worked on my content, handled my business, cooked, took care of the kids. We talk all day, every day. And even though the relationship was emotionally imbalanced, that routine was familiar. My body felt safe in that routine, not necessarily the relationship. There's a difference. I wasn't missing any pieces of myself when I met him. I already knew who I was, what I valued, what my purpose was, how I wanted to live, that I was a full person with or without the relationship. Traveling wasn't something that he introduced me to. I've traveled out of the country alone. I've been traveling since I was a little girl. I've lived on my own. I lived with my son. I lived with roommates. I've experienced life before him. So when the emotional imbalance got loud, I wasn't afraid to return to myself. I needed air. I needed movement. I needed sunlight. I needed me. My life didn't collapse without him. It recalibrated. And that's the difference. I did touch on this in the last conversation that I had on this breakup, but I'll reiterate. Basically, when I was single, I lived when I was single. It wasn't a waiting room, waiting on this special person to come in or focusing on meeting someone new or just sitting around living this very mediocre life. I spent the 3 years I was in celibacy actually living and existing and trying out new things and doing the things that scared me, which meant living life alone. I went to the movies alone. I went out to dinner and took myself on a date alone. And when I say took myself out on a date, I don't mean that I got dressed and I went to like Chipotle or something like that. No. I got dressed up. I made a reservation. I went to a high-end restaurant and I sat at a table by myself and I ordered and ate whatever I wanted to order and eat. And I pulled my laptop out and I was working and I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And it was hilarious because even in that moment of just being in my own energy by myself, there was a guy that came in that was trying to figure out whether I was there alone or not because he wanted to talk to me. There's nothing more attractive than existing and living your life, even when you do it alone. A lot of people feel like they have to go out with the intention or purpose to meet a person. No, you have to figure out how to recalibrate your energy and be in position to call in the energy of your reflection. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you understand that you have handled a lot of your trauma issues or your wounds, you're very emotional, mature, you have compassion, you have patience, you have understanding, you handle your business, you do what you're supposed to do, but you're not rough, you're not hard, you're able to receive and accept. When you go out and experience life alone, it calls people in towards you. Do you see what I'm saying? And even when it calls people in, you are gonna love being in your own space so much that you're not even gonna really want to receive it for real, because you're in bliss. When I went out of the country by myself for 9 days, by myself, I didn't go down there to meet anybody. I didn't go down there with anybody. I didn't meet any friends while I was out there for real. I was just there. And instead of sitting in the hotel every single day, I got up, I took their public transportation and rode all around the island. I took a ferry to a whole nother island. I lived, I experienced, I met people, I learned, and I ate what I wanted to eat. There's nothing like taking a solo vacation and doing what you want to do on that vacation, especially when you're used to doing what other people want to do on vacation. When you're used to everybody else coming up with a schedule, or everybody having to convene and figure out what they want to do, or maybe you're a very lackadaisical person like me. I'm so lackadaisical, I'm very go with the flow, and I'm cool with whatever plan we all come up with. It doesn't matter to me as long as we're outside and we eating and we having a good time, okay? Experiencing 9 days in another country and deciding today, I'm just gonna stay in my room all day, and I'm not gonna feel like a waste. I'm not gonna have anybody trying to tell me, oh, why are you laying down, or why are you creating content, or why is the skincare process taking so long, or we gotta go. And I was at ease. I felt so good. I went to the movies by myself on Valentine's Day, which is 3 days after my birthday, and I watched a love movie. Like, I really pushed myself out of my comfort zone to let my mind, body, and nervous system know I feel safe doing things alone. I feel safe discovering and exploring alone. And I was happy doing that because I would have great experiences every time that I did. My life doesn't stop because I don't have a man. My life doesn't stop because I don't have friends. My life doesn't stop because whatever. My life is going to continue, and I need to grab a hold of it every second that I get, because I don't know how many seconds I get of it. Cheating sucks. And sometimes you gotta be the cheater. I promise you, I already wrote this all out. I have everything organized. This is not on the script. I don't know why I said that, but I guess I'm just gonna have to go ahead. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say it. Yeah, sometimes you gotta be on the other side of the coin to kind of understand and get it. Does that make any sense? Who did I cheat on? I've cheated on somebody. Well, yeah, that was great actually. So my shadow self is coming out now. You guys see her? Say hey, shadow self, everybody wave. So yeah, I cheated on someone before, and it was a get back. I was really young actually when I did that. But because it was a get back, I ended up telling him in a very nuanced way that I cheated on him because I wanted it to eat him up. And this is when I realized cheating because you got cheated on doesn't necessarily, it's not worth it. This is where I learned that it's not worth it to cheat back, if this makes any sense. For some people, they think it's worth it. It's not worth it. I don't give a crap what you say. Energetically, I know it's not worth it. Even if it's good, it's not worth it because it ends up not turning into anything. It usually doesn't turn into anything, or it doesn't turn into anything that will help evolve you. Does that make any sense? Now, I wasn't looking to cheat on this person. This person that came into my life actually fell in my lap. They fell in my lap. And it was almost like the divine served him up on a silver platter, because back then I had a thing for T.I. This is when T.I. was really, now I'm telling my age, okay? This is when T.I. was really big, and it was like, man, I used to love T.I. What you know about me? This is when I started to have this infatuation with Southern men. I'm a city girl. I'm from Chicago. So I don't know what the Southern guys are like. You know what I mean? I've been down south before. Yeah, I never really experienced Southern guys like that back then. So just seeing T.I., and I don't know what it was about T.I. for me. I don't know. Maybe it was just, I don't know. Maybe I just loved his songs. I'm starting to sing, hey, let's get away and get a room on the other side of town. Hey, baby, I was thinking of you. Oh my God. Anyways, he looked just like T.I., but he had green eyes. Yo, Oh, I just remembered his name too. God, I forgot it all these years and I just remembered it. Anyways, I was like holding hands with him in school. We were like lovey-dovey. That was my boo. But even he had somebody else on the side too. But he knew I had a boyfriend and he was trying to get me to be his girlfriend. He was trying to convince me to break up with my boyfriend for him. And that I didn't want to do. I just wanted to get back at my boyfriend and I wasn't going to have a boyfriend. He was my type visually, but he wasn't the type of guy that I would go after. He wasn't academically excelling. He wasn't, I like book smart guys. I like smart guys. I do. And I like intellectually intelligent men. So high IQ, high EQ. I love that. Read me a book, babes. Read me a book. I like the geeks. I like them. I just do. I don't know what it is about me. He wasn't that guy. He was just visually pleasing. He was satiating my fantasy that I had with T.I. So it was like perfect, But in the end, it wasn't worth it. I didn't feel, the only satisfaction I got was to allude to my ex that I was dating somebody else or I was dealing with somebody else around that time. And I only did that because he lied to me in my face for either 3 or 6 months about cheating. I actually have stayed when someone cheated, but I don't really count this relationship. It was my first boyfriend. I don't really count him for real. I don't even think I loved him for real. I don't even think I knew what love was. But I did stay, but I stayed out of spite. Yeah, I stayed out of spite, not because I was in love and I couldn't leave. No. I stayed because I was like, how long is this fool gonna lie to me about cheating on me? And I got 2 phone calls letting me know that he cheated on me like the second he was done. How long? So yeah, I didn't stay because of love. I stayed because I wanted my get back. And then when I got my get back, I was like, like I didn't stay with the guy. I wasn't thinking about the guy. I didn't care about the guy and I didn't care about him anymore either. And I was just like, this is just a waste of time. So now that I'm older, dealing with people that can't stay faithful or that think that there's better options out there, the option out there is never better. It's never better. I've learned for myself when I was a teenager. Like, how are you grown and you still don't get that? I'm not gonna convince you. Like, keep going cheating. Keep cheating so you can get away from me. But dang, I forgot about that. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta be on the other side of the coin and see what it feels like. See what's to it. What is it giving? But honestly, it never pans out right. It never does. And I think that's the reason why I'm so loyal. But now, instead of being loyal, I'm just gonna start breaking up with people and getting with the next person. Because why? I don't understand why you can't break up with somebody and just go be with whoever it is you want to be with. Just go do that. And even when you do that, it's still not worth it. Because you know what I noticed? For me personally, I told the divine, I don't want to be with anyone that's wrapped up with someone else. If they're wrapped up in anything, I don't want to be with them. So I'm not that type of woman that you could tell, oh, I'm going through a divorce and we're separated. Okay, go be separated. Because if you came into my life while you still have something pending or something going on, you are not for me. Like, my boundary on that is so strong, okay? If you meet somebody while you're in relationship, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be a lesson. They're not the love of your life. You're gonna learn why that person was coming in at 10% and they weren't the 90%. You're gonna learn because they were never supposed to be the 90%. It's almost like low-key, the universe is testing you, to be honest. So even when you break up with somebody for somebody else, it doesn't matter how long you hold on to that broken ass relationship, it's not gonna end up being nothing for real. And on the outside, people are really good at pretending and making it look like it's something. It's nothing. And I know it's nothing because I've already seen it. I've seen it for myself. I know what's on the other side, and that's why I don't care. That's another reason why I can't be dragged in to cheating. But sometimes you gotta cheat to help you get over cheating too. Not in the same instance, but just to be on the other side at some point in your life to see, oh, this is what it's like. When you have that understanding, me gathering that understanding, when I understood that, when my ex emotionally betrayed me, I was like, you know what? Let me just let him go. Clearly, it's not clicking. Let him go. Let him go figure out himself. You know what I mean? Let him go do whatever it is that he thinks is better than me. Clearly, it's better than me. Go see what that is. I love an intellectual man. I love an intelligent man. And an intelligent man is not a cheater. He's not going to cheat because he has enough life wisdom to understand that you don't get nothing out of cheating. When you go and cheat, you get cheated. And it's so funny because I even stopped saying I got cheated on. I haven't been physically cheated on in a while, but I don't say I got cheated on or they cheated on me. They cheated themselves. You cheated yourself, because I'm absolutely going to leave. And I have like this little sadistic kink of leaving because it's my superpower. So every time I leave, I know for a fact that they're going to think that they can come back, and I get off. I get off on knowing that they can't. I get off on knowing who I am and knowing that I'm not going to take you back. And if I do, you should be wary of me. You really should. You don't know what the hell I'm up to. So even now that I'm saying that, I'm never going to take nobody back, because they're going to be paranoid if I do. It helps you understand things from a different standpoint, because I have a different understanding. I'm not caught up in, oh, he's thinking about somebody else, or he wants to be with someone else, or this guy's cheating. And it's like, oh, I see the energetic value here. I see that you don't have enough intelligence to understand what this is, and you need to go aligned with that karmic so that you can learn your lessons over there, because I'm moving over here. Do you see what I'm saying? I have a different understanding because I was able to reprogram my paradigm by experience. That's how I know what I know. And I know that it just never pans out. I've never seen it pan out personally. People can say what they want to say in the media and whatever, but I promise you, it never pans out. It never does. Even if they don't physically cheat on you, like they don't get physical with the person, but they want to go be with that person. So maybe they're rushing the relationship to end or whatever, so they can go run and be with that person and they can feel like they got scot clean. You're not getting off scot clean. The second that you are thinking an inappropriate thought when you already committed to someone else and you already promised to someone else, all of this is spell work. Whether you know it's spell work or not, it's all spell work. You already created a contract with someone else and you're off doing something else with someone else. Now think about this. When you stay with someone that's created a contract with you, now they're going to create a contract with someone else. Now they're going to create a contract with someone else. Now you're tied to all of this karma. My right ear is ringing. I've never thought about it like this, but you're actually tying yourself to this big ass tower moment. Instead of breaking off free and saying, you know what, let them have their tower moment. I'm going to break off and I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to let it hit me. But when you are playing on the field in that game, whatever bomb is going to hit, it's going to hit you too. And you have to get more in tune with preserving yourself than basking in your emotions and your attachment style. You got to get over that. However you need to heal, you got to heal it. You're going to learn. And sometimes you got to go back. I'm not the type of person to tell you to avoid experience. I'm not that type of guide, leader, teacher at all. If you need help figuring something out, that means you haven't been dragged good enough yet. And the reason why I can say that because I've been there. That's how I learned all my experiences. When I was too hard-headed to learn and I kept doing the thing that I wasn't supposed to be doing, it got to a point I lost my appetite for the thing because I got my head bashed in so many times from going to that thing. So sometimes if it's that hard to be convinced, if it's that hard to understand, if it's that overwhelming to walk away and never look back, go back. Go back, learn a lesson because you need the lesson. That's why it's there. That's why you're doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, you still care. There's still curiosity. You're still looking backwards. Go backwards, figure it out. And then once you figure it out, you're never going to have to look for somebody else's advice to figure out how to not go back to an ex or how not to think about an ex and how to be strong. You're going to have to go back and figure it out. There's been people that I've gone back to. I mean, I don't think that, was it ever cheat? I don't think it was ever really cheating that happened. Like we would break up, make up, break up, make up, break up, make up. And after a while, it got old. I got tired of it. And then as you start to experience different people, you start to realize those old people, they're not worth a damn, girl. Like seriously, they're like a penny. At this point in time, in the day and age that we're in, as bad as the economy is, if you look down and you saw a penny, you probably wouldn't pick it up. That's what they're like. Once you start experiencing new people and you start getting better experiences and better activities going on in your life, you're not even intrigued. It's a no-brainer. It becomes a no-brainer. You don't want to go back. You don't want to do the thing. So sometimes you got to do the thing. Just don't get pregnant and don't go to jail and don't catch an STD. Those are my only preliminaries to you. So if you made it all the way to this point and you still want to go back and you're still like, well, baby, let me help you with the indecision. Make a decision. Go back, see what it's like, see what's up, get lied to, or maybe get surprised. Do whatever it is that you need to do to figure out the rest. Okay? That's what you do. That's how you figure it out. You live life. That's how you learn. That's where you get your answers from. As eloquently as I can dress this, that is the realest answer. If you're dealing with a cheater and you can't stop thinking about them and you miss them, go back. Go back. You're going to learn. You're going to learn. It reminds me of the time where I'll never forget my little cousin. He was a little kid. I was ironing clothes and I would put the iron down and he was like, oh, and he wanted to touch it. And I kept telling him, don't touch it. Don't touch it. It's hot. Don't touch it. It's hot. Baby didn't understand what hot meant. Baby didn't understand what hot meant. He started giggling. He thought it was a game. Like, oh, look, I'm going to touch it. Because he was getting attention. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. If he wants to touch it, he can touch it. So he was doing it. He was looking at me smiling. And then he touched it. He's like, oh, and started crying. And as he was crying, I was shaking out my clothes and I was nodding. And I looked at him and I was like, hot. And he was like, hot. I was like, yes, hot. I was trying to protect you, baby, but you thought it was a game. So if you think playing with your life is a game for some dirty little boy that don't even know how to wash his ass and he has shit stains in his drawers, go back and go figure out the reason why you shouldn't have gone back. I was going to say more for this video, but I'm not. I'm going to end it right here. Love y'all. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me. That's my time. I'll see you in the next one. Peace, love, and a little bit of spice.